Have at it with your grievance.
Okay, James, you flipped me out this week, man. I couldn't believe it when season 6 of Black Mirror dropped. And I threw it out to you and I said, well, what if we did Black Mirror season 6? I thought, oh, this would be fun to talk about. I mean, Black Mirror is part of the zeitgeist of the last 10 years. And, it's not uncommon to hear that something is Black Mirror-ish or that's got that Black Mirror thing going with it. And so when you responded, oh, I haven't seen any of the episodes of it, I totally like, you're telling me a guy from the UK who, is kind of up to speed on so many elements of pop culture and film and hadn't seen an episode of Black Mirror. Like, I thought you were pulling my leg at first. I thought you were pulling my leg.
Okay. The short answer is you're absolutely right. I think the slightly longer answer is I think over the years I have seen two, but by and large, basically the situation is that pre-COVID, certainly pre sort of streaming, I just didn't watch any TV. I'm a film critic, and that monopolized my time so much. It's why I'm not a gamer either. I kind of just made the decision. I was like, it's such a time suck, and particularly with like network shows, when it's like I've got to be in on like Wednesday night at 10 o'clock in order to catch the next episode of 24 or whatever it was back then. I was just like, well, I can't commit to that.
Yeah.
And so how it started is I wouldn't watch any shows, and then occasionally when they came to DVD, I would pick up like the whole season on DVD or something like that, and then I could just blow through it in my own time. More often than not, sit up all night and just watch the whole season or something. I like doing that sometimes, but and so you might think that when the streaming started doing that, it might be for tailored to my needs.
Yeah, for all the reasons you gave, I understand why you didn't watch a lot of TV, but I do know that you have watched some TV now that streaming's going. And I'm thinking of all the TV that's out there, how could you not watch Black Mirror? I mean, this is and here's the thing. I remember when I was introduced to Black Mirror, it was probably around season 2 or 3. The word of mouth was just picking up. It hadn't made the jump to Netflix yet. It was purely a UK based, and it was, I think, the early 2000 or 2000 knots. What are we calling, like 2012, 2013? And I downloaded because I couldn't get it. It wasn't on anything available here in Hong Kong, so I downloaded it. And I watched the national anthem, the very first episode, and it so emotionally scarred me. I didn't think I was going to watch another Black Mirror. I think I spent 2 weeks thinking about that episode. And if you haven't seen it, it's about the Prime Minister of England and essentially a Princess Diana character has been kidnapped. And unless the British Prime Minister does an unseemly act with a pig on live TV, the princess is going to be killed. And you think, and they build this up so much. It is so impactful. And obviously, Charlie Brooker, the writer-creator of this, here's the thing. Since The Twilight Zone, these types of anthology shows, I mean, Twilight Zone is something that everyone knows. It hits the zeitgeist, not just in America, but I'm sure the UK as well. The English-speaking world knows Rod Serling's The Twilight Zone. And for like the last 45 years, different writers, directors have been attempting to recreate that type of anthology that examines science fiction and horror and future and different elements of the human condition. And even Twilight Zone has been rebooted. There's been Amazing Stories with Steven Spielberg. There's been The Outer Limits. There's been these different attempts to capture that, what Rod Serling had done in the 60s. And no one has ever come close. I mean, there's been some hits and misses, some high point episodes, but by and large, nothing has touched like Black Mirror has. Black Mirror is the first true legitimate heir to the Twilight Zone. And so I'm wondering, how the hell could you not have watched an episode?
It's right. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the short answer is I don't know really. I don't know. Yeah. I mean, because they're quite long. They're unconnected feature length episodes, aren't they? They're about 90 minutes each, I think, each one.
Yeah, each one, give or take, it could be as short as 45 minutes to an hour and a half.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay.
And so you can get them in bite-sized nuggets. And that's why I gave you a list. Like, you have to go and the USS Callister, which is otherwise known as the Star Trek episode.
This is one of the ones that everyone tells me to watch. They say watch the first one, watch the pig fucking one.
I said intimate.
I'm just quoting what people have said to me. Watch that one. Watch the Star Trek one, and then there's those seem to be the two.
Then San Junipero is probably my favorite one. It is, I think, I want to say season 3. Yeah. San Junipero season 3 is a breakout. I think I've watched that episode no less than 5 times. And then the special film, the Christmas special they did, which is like an hour and a half long with 3 vignettes that are connected by John Hamm's character. John Hamm plays a character. That is a mind-blowing episode. Yes.
You know, Mad Men is a TV show I did watch, but actually I didn't watch the final season. So
actually, I haven't either. I've watched like the first 5 seasons. I haven't gotten past there, but but be that as it may, this is about what are we watching. So I watched season 6.
So go for it.
So season 6, as soon as Thursday happened, I watched the first 5. There's 5 episodes. I watched the first 4 on Thursday night, and by and large, it hits. It's a good season. You know, there's always hits or misses with Black Mirror because, you know, it's an anthology show. You're using different actors, there's different stories. Some resonate, some don't. I can say in this season, I wouldn't say anything misses. On the other hand, there is no single standout episode in some past seasons. When you had your San Junipero in season 3, when you had in season 1 the national anthem, the pig one. When you had in season 4 USS Callister. These were episodes that were defining of the show itself. And in this season, there's not. There is, and just a quick rundown, we've got Joan is Awful, which this was a really interesting, and I'm not going to give any big spoilers, even though we're a spoiler show, but it's about a girl whose life, it really talks about how our lives are being filmed and how they can be used by big media, big tech, these different corporations. And it's kind of a spoof, but it uses Selma Hayek, it uses Michael Cera. And by and large, I love the episode a lot. Locke, I think is Locke Henry. They go to Scotland, some documentarians, and it's basically a murder mystery. The 3rd episode, Beyond the Sea, that was the most Black Mirror-ish. And
now, what do you mean by that? If you say it's Black Mirror-ish? I thought
Black Mirror is known. Well, Black Mirror essentially looks at the near future most often and how tech is changing us as people and the dark side of where tech can go bad. And how
so that's if there is an overarching theme,
that would be the overarching. But in this season in particular, it strays from that. So you got the first episode, Joan is Awful. That pretty much hits the whole tech thing. The second episode, Locke Henry, it's more of a murder mystery and some elements that could be almost from a TV show in the 70s. There's a lot of a throwback element, a nostalgia element in this season. Most of the episodes, rather than being in the future, are actually in the past. Beyond the Sea is basically an alternative 1960s episode of 2 American space explorers that, because they're gone so long, the technology has been developed so that they can insert themselves into these android versions of themselves. And when they're having downtime, they can be living their life with their family back on Earth. And that was the one that had the most San Junipero possibilities, where this could be this could really go well. The relationship could be established. If you don't want any spoilers, all I'm going to say is this goes dark and bad, really. and I'm like, no. And I have to raise the issue with Charlie Brooker. The first 2 seasons and the special the special film with John Hamm, they're all negative. They're all dark. They're by and large various levels of bad outcomes. It was only in season 3 that we introduce like a really positive, happy endings. And I think that's why I love San Junipero. It usually tops the lists of Black Mirror episodes. And it has a happy ending. I think that's why I could watch it like 5 times. Whereas Beyond the Sea, I probably won't watch again because, oh man, where it goes. It's got Adrian Paul and Josh Hartnett play the 2 astronauts. And by and large, it's done really well. It sucked me right in. The story is great, but just letting you know, this is a spoiler show. It's going to get dark and bad really fast. And then it ends up with Maisie Day, which is a great expose on the paparazzi syndrome, just what paparazzi will do to get the shot and how it affects people's lives. But then it kind of goes into a horror element, a supernatural horror element. And you're wondering, okay, I'm kind of missing the isn't tech bad for us? It suddenly pulled out the monster of the week type thing. And essentially it's what happens in the last one too, Demon 79. It's 1979. And this woman, essentially, it's an Indian woman who works in a shoe shop. She gets, because her biryani smells too much, and it's 1979, we have to send her down to the basement to eat her biryani because it's smelling up the lunchroom too much. And while she's down there, she finds a little talisman that summons a demon and lets her know that unless she kills 3 people in the next 3 days, all of civilization, the earth will be destroyed, and all kinds of fire and brimstone, bad things are going to happen. And so again, we don't have any tech elements. There's nothing about the future. It's a horror comedy. And it was kind of fun. Like I said, all 5 episodes worked. They were, I never felt when I got done, well, there's an hour I'm not getting back. But nothing was groundbreaking either. And so my overall score, I give this a 3.5, 4, 3.5, 4. So that's it. And I think, James, if you would just give it a chance, you just got to give it a chance. And you don't even have to binge it. That's what's great about this. Just watch it 1 hour episode. Watch USS Callister. Watch it tonight. And then watch San Junipero. And then you'll start binging. You're going to call me up. You're going to message me, Steve, what do I watch next? What's the next Black Mirror I should watch? And
so you don't think I should just start at the beginning and just work my way through?
You can. But the thing with the anthology element is nothing builds on anything else, by and large.
Sure. But because I was thinking about that. But then is it like, if I cherry pick and just watch all the best ones, and then I'm like, okay, they were really good, maybe I should watch some more, then everything else I'm going to watch is not going to be as good as them. And so I might end up tiring of the mediocrity and never finish it.
Well, you being you and me being me, the ones that I've highlighted to you, you're probably going to go, but something that really is dark and evil, you're going to go, hey, that was good.
Well, because in particular, because without provoking you too much more, because is another bugbear of yours, is that one of the ones that everyone always says one of the best ones is the quote unquote Star Trek one, and I haven't watched any Star Trek.
Yeah, you don't have to have. You don't have to have it. That story, jokes aside, is written so well that it really. There's 2 episodes of Black Mirror of which conveys to me what true hell would be. And the second vignette in the John Hamm movie White Christmas, I now know what hell is, and U.S. Callister, the Star Trek episode, I now know what hell is. And it is a mind-blowing, if you found yourself in this situation, it would be worse than dying. And so, yes, watch them, because they will play that. And that's what makes Black Mirror great, is you're thinking about these episodes days later.
I think you may have convinced me. You may have convinced. I mean, you're not the first person, and you're not the last. And as I sent you a screen grab of a text I got from my wife yesterday. Who was also sat down and watched it, and she's just like, "Oh my god, you have to watch Black Mirror. It's so good." I'm like, I know, you and everybody else. So maybe if there is one thing that I could do, because as you say, it is you don't. It's not a huge commitment because you can just watch them one by one.
Yeah.
Is that maybe that should become my new kind of go-to if I have a bit of time and I don't know what to watch? It's like, okay, just watch one.
And with Charlie Brooker, even though it's made the move to Netflix, and has kind of picked up an American flair to it. It still is very much rooted in a very British sensibility. And I think you would resonate with that British sensibility, as do I, actually.
Okay, well, that's good. You know, I like to maintain my Britishness to some degree.
Speaking of, I'm going to be on a plane to the UK in 48 hours.
Wow. I'm not.
London, baby.
You're wonderful to see. You ought to be in pictures. Oh, what a hit you would be.